Martha, you have those diverse revenue streams. You have a relationship with the consumer, and you have a relationship with the advertisers. So you have to navigate the brave new world of conflict of interests, every day. What advice, as we look, for these new revenue streams, what advice do you have for us in how to maintain the integrity of the product, maintain the trust with the reader, while still, have business relationships far and wide?
Well, we've been watching very carefully the destruction of the church and state that exists between advertisers and edit. And we've been really comparing our magazine's content and its advertising to our competition. And increasingly, we find that there is a major breakdown in that church and state situation, which was established years and years ago and monitored by some very important, there's ASME and there's magazine publisher, MPA. And how do we deal with that? How there is definitely a change going on. And is that because the consumer wants to be able to see a product next to a page talking about that product? Possibly. I think that the internet, we talked backstage, the internet certainly does that constantly. When you are on a page talking about a healthcare, something in healthcare, you see the drug that's going to take care of you, take care of that flu or that headache, right there on the page. So no one is monitoring that placement as is monitored in magazines. But I think that monitoring is going away. And we are dealing with it. We are taking very close notice of it, and we want to not only serve our readers and our viewers and our internet users in the best way possible, but we also want to be able to make money and get advertisers to welcome our good content, our trusted content.
Well, it is paradoxical. This relationship between content and advertisers, we've assumed they need to be separated. In print, if we have a Ford article, the Ford ad can be nowhere near it. And on the internet, you do just the opposite. Google would call that relevance and place the Ford ad right next to the Ford content. The consumers clearly like it because they click on it. It wouldn't be done if it weren't effective. So there's two questions. There's two possibilities. Either we were wrong, and it turned out that consumers didn't need the content and the advertising to be separated, and we were just suffering from self-importance and a belief that we had this sacred duty, or that there is that we're seeing the beginning of potentially a more dangerous conflict online with this as relevance becomes closer and closer.
I think there's a relaxation in our attitude towards it. That's really what it is. I was very angry when I would see something like that, an absolute link between an ad and a piece of edit. There's a big relaxation. It doesn't bother me anymore.
But hold it. There's a big difference between relevance, which is what you're describing online, and corruption, which is what these policies are meant to prevent. I mean,
how does the reader know the difference?
In our the foreplay before this panel, you described the magazine world as a kind of cathedral, and I think historically it's been more like a brothel, and now it's becoming like Plato's retreat. That there's 70% of the audience does not know how perfect an analogy that is. But
look it up on Wikipedia.
As the economic model for old media collapses, the self-restraint and the cathedralness of the business it's just to say slippery slope. First, is very hard to do, evidently, but I mean it's now really a precipitous drop.